Welcome back to Bonded by Bravo. I am your host, Amy, joined with my awesome co-host, Jenna. I'm just having my 4 p.m. snack. Sorry for my chewing, for anyone who has that thing that they don't like people that are chewing.
Corey.
Sorry, Corey. I keep wanting to call it mesothelioma, but it's not that. It's something like that. It's not called that. I'm going to look it up.
Kyle kind of has that too.
Yeah, sorry, Kyle.
I don't think he listens.
Yeah.
Anyway, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? I was hungry.
How was your first week back from your vacation?
Misophonia.
Okay. Oh, so
That's
you're
what it's called.
close.
Yeah. My first week back from vacation sucks. I had like terrible anxiety, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Just like getting back into life, you freak out and are like, I hate my life. I'm overwhelmed. And then you go to the gym a few days and start doing your routine and everything's fine.
Love a routine. How was your weekend of TV catching up?
Oh my God. Okay.
There was a lot.
We getting in? Yeah. I don't think I did a good job. I know I like gave you this list of all the shows I was going to catch up on. And realistically, I think I did all of Mormon.
Okay.
Real Housewives of Mormon. That's not what it's called.
That's not what it is.
I did most of Sunset.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Okay.
Oh my God. But you know what? I watched a movie on the plane on the way home, that Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney movie.
Okay. What's that?
It came out and it was like last summer it came out, or last spring, Anyone But You.
Okay. I probably won't watch it anyway.
Yeah, I would.
I don't really watch movies that much.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it on my to-do list.
Actually, go ahead.
There was a lot of talk at that time when they were shooting that they were hooking up. And you could see that because they're both very attractive people.
I know what movie you're talking about. I did watch it. I watched half of it and I was like, this is absolute trash. I thought it was one of the worst things I've ever watched.
I heard
so
Io from The Bear talk about an actress. She talked about Jennifer Lopez and then met Jennifer Lopez on Saturday Night Live and had to like apologize to her because she said stuff about her on a podcast. So I'm not going to say anything about this just in case I ever work with Glenn Powell or Sydney Sweeney and my
fair.
But I feel like I have similar feelings, and if I wasn't on an airplane with it being right in front of me, I would have turned it off.
Speaking of movies, and I don't typically watch that many movies.
So interesting.
But so much TV, not a lot of movies. But I went to the movies 2 Sundays in a row.
You went to the movies?
Went to the movies 2 weekends in a row. I cannot tell you maybe the last movie I saw in theaters before that was The Joker in 2019, maybe. And I saw it in New York. And I remember being so stressed for that one. And then it's like this dreary day and everyone just goes out like chain smoking after that movie because it was so freaking intense. But speaking of intense movies, so Beetlejuice, great, 10 out of 10. And then I saw Blink Twice, the Zoe Kravitz movie. Fucked up, but really good. And yeah, she killed it. It was really good. It was well done. I didn't I had like an idea of what was maybe happening, but for anyone who's like thinking about going to see it, definitely trigger warning because it's pretty fucked up, but like you can't not think of like, for me the whole time I was thinking of like Elon Musk, Jeffrey Epstein. It was
okay, because I didn't read the synopsis for it, but I've heard it's getting really good reviews, and that she's been working on this for years and years from interviews I've seen Channing Tatum do. That's interesting. I love going to the movies, and I haven't been, I think, since Barbie.
I did see Barbie in the theaters then. So maybe
that's over a year. No, that's 2 years ago.
No, I don't think it's
No, it's a year.
No, it's a year.
Because I lived here. Okay, that's good to know. I love going to the movies.
And there was something about, it had to be Channing Tatum. I'm not like, I don't know acting the way that you do, but I felt, it had to be him because he can be charming while also it was like dark as well. And
interesting.
It just, I don't know. And then there was like some comedy relief throughout it. And the way that the girls sort of really band together, it was really good. Like, I don't know that I would see it again. I was like a little jumpy when I left, but it was really good.
Well, speaking of creepy Jeffrey Epstein's, P. Diddy was arrested, and that man is doing everything in his power to get bail, to get out of this jail in Brooklyn.
What do you mean? Like what?
He put his entire house on Star Island in Florida up as bail money. So you have to like to make bond, you have to like, usually you have to hit bond, and his house is, they're saying $50 million minimum bond, but I don't even think they're setting bond, which means they're not even giving him an option to get out of jail.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And so he's trying to like throw everything at them. Like, I'll have a $50 million bond. I'll put my sister, my mom. He put like 4 people on there as like co-signers of his bond.
Wow.
He put like these insane amount of things. He said he already gave up his passport. His sons gave up his passport. Other people named in the indictment gave up their passports. Will
his sons be charged as well?
I mean, TBD, who knows?
Okay.
There's so many people listed in that indictment.
Anyone else that we know, like famous names, or no?
I don't know yet. Just because I didn't do enough research, but I'm sure
they might not have released other names at this point anyway.
But they released the whole indictment, I think, yesterday morning. I just haven't done as much. I need like that Hollywood Reporter person who does this stuff. So the other thing that he put today was that he will have today he was back in court trying again to get bond. And he said he will have no female visitors. And this judge is basically saying no. And why should he have, why? I mean, the things that they're talking that he is accused of, and not to mention that he pleaded not guilty.
I saw that.
And the things that he's accused of doing is sex trafficking.
It's so sick.
They said, I read an article that said one of the biggest reasons that they will not give him bond is because he had guns that he had scraped the serial markers off of. Not the sex trafficking, but the guns. It's really scary.
That is so scary. It really makes you wonder how many people in Hollywood knew, because we obviously hear the jokes about it. Wendy obviously has known for years, Aubrey O'Day, but aside from the people that have like really spoken out about it, like my head goes to like the Kardashians. Like, how much did they know? Because they were pretty heavily involved.
But they backed away. There's a point where like you think about the people that backed away, where
weren't they pictured last year at the white party together?
Yeah, but like pictures is one thing. Going and knowing his interworkings, like they're talking about this woman who was his assistant for the last 20 years as like the Ghislaine Maxwell of this woman who orchestrated male prostitutes to come, and he would tell women like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a relationship, bring them to his house, drug them, have them have sex with male prostitutes, videotape it,
oh my God,
and then use it against them so that they couldn't speak about it against his name as so leverage. Fucked. It's so fucked. Where my head goes immediately is what happened to Biggie and what happened to Kim Porter.
I wonder if they would even open up those cases again, or if they're just going to stay focused on taking him down on this.
I mean, the Kim Porter of it all.
Could her family open that case back up?
It's like, do they want to dance with the devil?
But
there's not a
going,
case. Yeah. And it's not like, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have still people out here in the world to, it's like mob mentality.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we even saw what happened we thought Jeffrey Epstein was going to go down. He was in prison for a week.
Yeah.
Not even. And he just I feel like he kind of got off easy with that whole suicide.
Yeah. Which, let's put that in air quotes.
Yeah.
This is really, I just don't know how this is going to develop. I feel, Kim Porter's sons knew about a lot of what was happening.
Wow.
Sons. I think it's more than one son.
It really does make you wonder. It's just like the power. When the people get power, it's like no wonder we hate the rich, right? Like it's this whole entitlement, and then not only do they feel entitled, but then we as like society sort of do give them the entitlement.
Well, I mean, Diddy like ruled the world for like, think about the pedestal he was on. Oprah, Obama, Ellen. He was a god he like crossed over to hip hop and made it into just like high society. And he was like one of those people that was up there on the pedestal. Yeah, it's really, we'll be following this and, talking about this a lot. It's really, it's there's no other word. It's crazy. It's scary. It's insanity. What's about to go down. I think we're going to see a lot. We're going to hear a lot. I can't wait for Aubrey O'Day for the day that she's going to be able to talk about this, because right now she's got an NDA somewhere that's keeping her tight. And
these NDAs are so bizarre.
I know. And Cassie had to sign one in order for her settlement to get. It's so unfair.
An NDA should be like, don't like certain things, but like when it's breaking the law, it shouldn't be included in an NDA. Like I feel like an NDA should just be null and void if it's something of this scale.
And
or any crime for that matter.
And does it make it null and void now that he's being convicted of stuff? Or is she still not allowed to talk about it?
Yeah, these NDAs are really, they're weird. The way that they can operate.
It's fucked.
It's so fucked. Speaking of more fucked up, did you happen it's not as fucked up, not nearly, but did you watch that Child Star documentary?
It was not on my. Which one was this about? Because
this is the Demi Lovato did this one. It was on Hulu. I watched it yesterday. It was good. I mean, she kind of just like digs into obviously like her past. She talks to Drew Barrymore, Kenan Thompson. Who else is in there? There's like a few others, but people that have basically been, I mean, Drew Barrymore's story is obviously kind of similar to Demi's a little bit in that they did kind of fall off for a little bit. We don't have to get into it too much because you haven't watched it, but I definitely recommend. It's a good watch. I mean, for people like you and I who are so just like into anything pop culture, this is definitely
Demi Lovato's up there for, even if like I'm not into her music at the moment, I just love her as a person and how much she's talked about her struggles and the thing that she's dealing with and how open she's been. She's super brave, super vulnerable. And so if her name's attached to anything, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I don't mind her. The only thing that ever really put me off was when she was like coming to the, it was like she went too woke for me, to be honest, when she started speaking out about the aliens not being wanted to be referenced as aliens. And even Neil deGrasse Tyson was like, they're fine. They're fine.
Oh.
Like she was basically saying that it's, it's not the right term to use for them.
Okay. Well, we don't like to get into politics about aliens here. So
and as someone who loves aliens, I was like, I'm not trying to insult them. I just, but let's move on. I have to give a quick yoga mat update. So for anyone who was listening last week, heard my little grievance about that, I sent you a photo yesterday so you can confirm how fucking insane it is.
Okay. So grievance of the week, our new topic of the week. Jenna's got a grievance.
Well,
Jen.
It's just a continuation from last week. I sent you the photo.
Yeah, but you had like 3 grievances last week.
This is the yoga mat.
Okay, let's make it this one.
If you are in a classroom with plenty of space for your yoga mat, let's not get within 1 inch behind someone else's yoga mat. I sent Amy a photo yesterday in class. My phone was already off and I like had to pull it back. I was like, let's put this off airplane mode. I have to send her this picture like immediately. I see the guy and I'm like kind of watching him. I'm like, this room is kind of empty. And he goes within 1 inch behind her. Mind you, he backs himself up to like a pillar in the middle. And I'm like,
what I saw.
I was like, what is going on here? Like, there's 3 spots next to this girl. There's 3 spots on each, I should say, on each side of her. There was space behind.
No. And I find that so bizarre. In New York, you're usually so crammed into small spaces. Mm-hmm. And I am like, most yoga studios, most gyms, their studio space is so small as it is. So that wouldn't be that weird to me there. But when you sent me this picture had all the space.
All of the space.
And it was like back to back. Like if you wanted to yoga back to back with your friend, that's what this was. This actually happened to me in my Zumba class. This girl showed up 20 minutes late and I had my little Zumba circle.
That's already a big old no. Not 20 minutes late. Why bother? Just wait it out.
And so like when you're in your Zumba class, you have your arms out and that's your Zumba circle, like wherever my arms are length, front, back, side. And she was in my circle and I'm like, bitch, you're 20 minutes late.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to encroach on my space. I'm with you for grievance of the week. This ain't it.
This ain't it.
Also, learn how to behave.
Not even that comfortable for him.
That's what I was wondering. Like, and then it's butt and face, crotch in places.
Yeah.
No one needs this.
Well,
there's one other thing I wanted to talk about before. Well, pop culture wise.
Okay.
I guess we're on pop culture, right?
Yeah.
Pop culture, I got into, how in the beginning of the summer, I didn't know who Chapel Roan was, and I just would just say her name in a sentence to try to be cool. I really love her now. I love her music now. I don't know, like, if I know her enough, and when I see her, I'm like, whatever. She gives me vibes of, like, a 20-year-old. Whatever, but I'm really into her music. And I know that you're not usually a pop girly, but I do know that you also
love Taylor.
And her voice gives like folky-ish.
Oh, okay. She's reminding me of Florence from Florence and the Machine.
I could see that. And she gives me like Maggie Rogers.
Oh, okay.
But like I want to say that with like an asterisk.
Okay.
Like it's like falsetto, chesty, heady voice. That means nothing to you.
Literally nothing. I actually like.
I like her vibe.
Yeah, I like that she's kind of like, I don't fucking owe you. Like she's really like, I don't fucking owe you people anything. Like you can't
see. That's the part that's annoying me about her.
See, so on Bravo and Cocktails, B also said that like. Who are you to say that? It's like, no, like that's good. Like the fandom is insane. Like, especially after watching that Child Star documentary, not that I even needed to watch it to understand how crazy like fans can be, but the way the fans feel like they're entitled to your personal space is like so not okay, especially when it sounds like for Chapel Roan, like, and it's actually a lot of celebrities. I think we've heard them even talk about it sometimes on like Armchair Expert, that the fame is sort of just like this thing that comes with their art.
Yeah.
And though they make a shit ton of money off of us, the fans, I still don't think that we're entitled to encroach on their space.
I agree with that. And I also think that Chapel Roan is still so new that you should watch what you say while you're still growing, because the fans could get offended and your career could easily end like that if you're not good to your fans. You know, there's a way to be good to your fans and have boundaries. And I think like she's still coming up, you know, for the people that you referenced, those people have been around for years and years, you know. This is her first few years in the industry. And I think that's where, like, to me, it gives off a little bit like she's a little entitled.
I don't know. I'm here for it.
That's good.
Yeah. All right. Well,
her music's great. I am so down with her music, and the message she's even saying in her music, I'm totally down for.
Selling Sunset. Thoughts?
I didn't finish the whole thing.
Okay.
I mean, Selling Sunset, you're watching it the same way you're like watching Emily in Paris. You're there for the clothes. You're watching with one eye. You're not really paying attention.
I want to talk about these clothes. And I feel like we've talked about it before, and everyone talks about it all the time. But to me, these outfits look so cheap. And then I hear them like mention designers. And I'm like, if I was a designer, I would be like, you can't wear this for my show, because I think because I know it's like an Adam DeVello project. It's on Netflix. It's this very produced show. I think that these women are kind of cheapening the brands. Well, don't come for me, ladies.
Some
of them are so bad. Like, they're so ugly too.
Well, I am no fashionista, but I would say calling them cheap it's like the exact opposite of what they actually are.
I feel
so expensive.
I know, but I feel that a little valid what I'm saying. Only
I would say it's like when Dorit does, I'm wearing a Louis Vuitton hat, I'm wearing a Louis Vuitton shirt, I'm wearing a Louis Vuitton. It's like, we see what you're doing, and you could do it in a more demure way. It's so out there and it's so in your face, these outfits, that it takes away from what I think the designer's trying to do with the outfit. However, you know, people will come for us on this because, you know, fashion is meant to be. I think my question is this what people in LA dress like? Because in New York, there's fashionistas, they're doing their thing, but we're dressing, I mean, and again, I'm not dressing in these clothes, but it just feels like we're always on the set of like Barbie. And we're always on the set of I don't know. It just feels like it's elevated to like a caricature level where it doesn't feel believable. Like, we know you're just, in my head, we know you're just wearing this outfit for the 15 minutes that you're gonna shoot. It just seems so exaggerated. Like, are you really wearing high heels to the construction site, girlfriend, and up the ladder?
I know. I think I also feel like I was watching it with my friend who is such a fashionista. Like, she just has style across the board all the time. And she was actually the one that pointed out, like, why do they look so cheap? And now that she has said it, because I trust her taste so much, like, if she tells me to buy a product, shout out Eden, I know you wanted a shout out. If that girl's telling me to buy something, I'm buying it. Like, she's done the research, she knows it, she knows the quality of it. She just, like, I think she should be an influencer. I really do.
Oh.
But she mentioned it, and now I can't unsee it. Like, I feel like because I trust her opinion so much that when I'm watching the show, I'm just like, wow, this is the outfits almost have gotten uglier for me now that I have this like cheapened lens with it. It's I don't know. It's just so bad. And you're right though. Like, when you said they're on the set of Barbie, that's it.
It's like everything,
but they're doing real estate.
Right. And everything's like bedazzled, and everything has this like a rhinestone or a crop top.
The makeup is too much. The makeup is too much. Like, God, let's scale it back a bit.
Well, Emma wearing that black lace dress with the black choker to Manhattan beach.
It's just, and
all
we know that that's not the vibe. There.
And all I could look at was the people in the background watching her walk into this. She looked like a street worker. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's not.
But she looked like she couldn't have been farther from, People are watching for this. And I want to say that, what was the chick's name with the blonde hair who was the
Christine Quinn.
Yeah. Christine Quinn started all of this. She was the one that started this fashion, extreme outfits. It's giving me Emily in Paris.
Yeah, I haven't watched that show. But the other thing about this show, there was like so much drama online after, and I was having a really hard time following it. Shout out to Not Skinny But Not Fat, because I was actually kind of following her journey and having kind of the same experience. Like, what is going on? There's a lot of drama, but then I watched it and it didn't feel like that really fit. And then I was like really siding with, do you have a dog there?
I'm dog sitting. Brock, can you cut that?
No, no, it's cute. We love dogs. And then I was like kind of on Bree's side, because it didn't seem like she had come, like that she didn't know what that girl Amanda was going to tell her about Chelsea's husband. But now there's all this stuff saying that actually, like, Bree was in an interview with Bryce Sanders from, I think,
I saw this.
What's he from? Is he from Entertainment Tonight, maybe?
Yeah.
Either way, and Bree saying that actually all of them knew about the cheating already, which kind of now invalidates what Bree was saying, that she didn't know, because like, what else would it have been about? It feels like it was a very produced scene.
I thought Bree said she did know and had the conversation with Chelsea Beat. Like, there's nothing in an Adam DeVello show that makes me feel like is really happening.
So then I guess the other girls are getting mad that it's not that it was more that they were pissed that Bree brought it to cameras, because everyone had already known about it before the season started filming. But my thought, and I even wrote it in the outline, was like, there is no show that Adam DeVello is producing that this would not be brought to the table. He doesn't care if everyone in your family has died. That shit is going to be drama, and he's going to bring it to TV. Am I right? Like,
and of course he would bring Chelsea's cheating husband.
100%.
Give me a break. However way that he could get the info.
Yes.
I don't think so either. Bree's probably my favorite person on the show.
Yeah, I like her too.
And favorite style on the show. If I had to pick. Okay.
Probably going with one of the brothers.
One of the blondes? Oh, I thought you were going to say one of the blondes. I'm like, the blondes? I can't take
it. A sweater and a pair of pants. I'm going with that.
Even they. Yeah, okay.
I know. Those guys are so strange, huh?
The hugging, the one hug that Jason did behind,
Wait, from behind
to what's her name, Nicole, was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen.
My God,
I want them all to stop hugging him. Please just stop hugging him.
For his sake.
It makes me so uncomfortable.
I know.
Short king power, but it just is very uncomfortable.
Other thing, just one last comment about the show is, did you see the Pioneer Town stuff?
Yeah.
This was kind of funny. So Pioneer Town actually issued a statement requesting an apology from the Amanda girl. Can you, like, this is so embarrassing. Like, I guess she's like, I think I was like, as you were saying, we're kind of watching it with like one eye, like we're kind of watching it, kind of not.
That's what I'm thinking.
I was like, I think I kind of was like doing other stuff when this scene happened, but they're in Pioneer Town and she basically says like, we own it.
Yeah.
And she owns a piece of land in Pioneer Town, but not Pioneer Town.
Because when they get there, you are told in episode 2 she owns it. When you get there, you're going to one house and then there's a man in a store and then it gets fishy.
Yeah. And so Pioneer Town has made a statement requesting an apology. She has since given an apology. So I guess all is well in Pioneer Town.
Do you want to, I just watched that episode last night. Do you want to know what my question was? Just as an actor, you sometimes get these, sorry, I'm going to break the fourth wall here.
Oh.
You sometimes get these casting notices for reality TV shows to like fill restaurants, if they're going to shoot a scene in a restaurant, etc. I wondered if that guy that asked Amanza out, not that he was not going to ask Amanza out, not that Amanza is not a smoke show, but I'm like, I bet you he's an actor that they just put there. Because it was so weird, that whole interaction. Not that she's not like such a smoke show and could have been asked out. I also wonder how much weed do you think she smokes allegedly?
Who?
Amanza.
Amanza's my favorite one on the
100%.
show. Her story is so wild. I actually like I don't know if you would like, you probably already know that whole story with her ex-husband stuff who just straight up disappeared. That is just wild.
It's insane.
She's been through it, and then she almost died. I'm like, she's the only one to me. Her and Mary, I would say, like, I think they both have some story, but for whatever reason, they just don't explore it on the show that much. I feel like they're so into the surface drama, they don't really go deep with each woman.
Amanza, they did. I think it was season 1 or season 2
when she joined.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay. I didn't realize it was season 2. They did a little then and talk about her ex-husband then, who was a football player. I thought the one thing that I cannot find juice about is when they're at the dinner in Pioneer Town and someone starts talking about who Emma, is it Emma? Yeah. Who Emma is dating, that we can gauge is probably someone who's married from all of the hush hush.
He's definitely that's what they're trying to say, is that he's married.
People are speculating that it could be Austin from the OC Selling Sunset.
Oh shit.
That's what I saw on Reddit. I mean, you should know better than me, girl.
You were on Reddit? What? Look at you.
You know, I tried it out. You know, I don't think I did it right, though. I don't think I did it right. You have to do that. Can you get in there?
Yeah, I'll try it.
See what you find out.
All right. Well, should we move on to Bravo? Our favorite topic.
Our favorite topic. So much is going on, I think, right? Yeah.
I mean, they have the VPR finale. It seems like there's a lot of drama. Again, this is just all the drama that has been leaked from this finale party. Again, it's just
the Valley
finale party is just, again, highlighting the leak is coming from inside the house, because we don't know much about any other show the way that we know about this damn show.
I mean, I'd say so Kristen and Sheena unite. I mean, Kristen's been doing this for years. Let's not lie. Okay. Sheena Shea, she knows how to play the game.
Yeah.
Not surprising me.
I'm surprised that they're not like, wow, we're so obviously doing this.
I'd even say Brock.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd even say Brock. I saw a Instagram today that Jax responded and said Brock who on someone else's page, and Brock said, "Oh, I'm the guy who was taking your son to school while you were in rehab." Ooh, good job, Brock. That was a sting.
It's giving Judas and Gorgos when like
oh God,
they were in jail and he's like, "I took them to school." But yeah, so lots of drama. I guess Brittany was shown some graphic and explicit text messages between Jax and some woman. I can't imagine she was like so shocked. I guess maybe the timing of the text is what maybe could matter. What else happened?
Are we shocked?
No.
And I don't think Brittany cares. Like, this is something that Brittany's been seeing. She's been separated from him since February. This isn't the first time. She's probably been seeing these things in her marriage. Like, give me a break.
And then what else? Jax goes off on Danny, continuing to push the whole alcoholic narrative. I don't know what his bone is with Danny. Like, it feels a little forced.
Well, I think because Danny, like, to me, Jax is an alpha. Love Danny. Danny's not an alpha. Exactly. So he's easy to prey on. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Like, for Jax, it's just like easy bait.
And then I guess Michelle and Jesse got into some huge fight. This is what I mean. We know so much already.
I know.
Jesse.
It's going to be boring.
I know. Michelle's new boyfriend, I guess, got like real hammered, completely wasted. I don't know. I started creeping on his Instagram the other day. I don't know. He's kind of weird.
Give me an example of weird.
I don't know. I guess like I don't love how much he's loving filming. To me, that's like feeling very red flag. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Michelle was on an episode of
That's actually
yeah, one of like the second to last one, maybe.
That's interesting because I thought that was weird about Kristen's boyfriend last year. He like knew the ins and outs way too much, way too soon. And speaking of Selling Sunset, we did not talk about Brie and Johnny Manziel and how weird that whole scene was with her and Johnny Manziel, like ex flirting, doing that was so uncomfortable.
There was like a lot of hate and chemistry happening at the same time.
And you're like, I don't want to watch
I was like, they're gonna hate fuck as soon as these cameras leave.
Yeah. And you just felt like you were like
not supposed to be there.
And you're like, I'm part of the foreplay. I don't want to be here.
Totally.
It's so uncomfortable.
Totally. That was I like Googled that because I needed to see images of them together. Like I couldn't like visualize it.
Yeah.
I don't know. The other thing I wanted to note about whatever VPR Valley world, we said some really nice things about Rachel towards the end, and we're giving her so much grace. But this been every week talking about something related to one of these shows. It's so desperate. I'm like, you said that you wanted to move on from this and that you didn't want this to be what you're remembered and all of these things. And we were like, we will give you that grace. Time to move on. Work on your mental health. Every single week. She even had her own lawyer on to talk about the lawsuit going on. Like, how is that even good for his business? Like, I'm not hiring a lawyer that's going on a podcast talking about the lawsuit.
I mean, that gives Teresa Giudice energy.
Yeah. The guy, James Leonard.
James Leonard. James Leonard. I just like but what else would who else cares to listen to her podcast if she's not going to be talking about these things? You know what I mean? No one's listening. No one cares.
Yeah, it's really pathetic. It's pathetic.
I agree. I also can't imagine how long this podcast is going to last. I heard a snippet.
Because eventually she's so far removed from it that it's like, what do you even have to comment? Like she would just be commenting on it the way that like you or I would.
Exactly.
So it's not at some point, it's not really an inside scoop when you're no longer on the inside.
Right. We can give just as much inside scoop. Follow us at Bonded by Bravo Pod on Instagram and TikTok, and listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And YouTube and YouTube videos. I heard she had what the heck's her name? Heidi from she had Heidi on, and she asked Heidi, would you have gone back on for the second season? And Heidi said, absolutely, I would have went back on. I would have tried to make my amends. I would have got my paycheck. And you made a mistake for not going back on.
Wow.
I was like, damn.
That's giving
I think
Heidi
she's
and
right.
Yeah.
I know, but like if you wanted to stay relevant, because to your point, no one's going to care.
That's the thing. Like if she probably could have gotten a much better payout had she just gone on the show. We thought her not going to the show was for her mental health and to really distance herself from the whole thing. She's not she's doing less of that for less money.
Yeah. Right. Silly. And it's not going to last long.
No.
Salt Lake's back tonight.
I know. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do mean that.
Okay. Because
I actually
go ahead.
I don't, how I'm not usually excited until I'm in it,
People are so excited online, and I don't feel that exact same way, but I feel like I'm trying to follow the bandwagon, and I'm like, yeah, I'm excited. I find Mary to be so vile and mean, and people are excited that she's back on, and I don't like that. And then Meredith,
I love her. She's such a crackhead.
Pardon
my French. Allegedly.
She is so, I don't know. I'm here for Lisa and Heather. I can watch all day.
Heather Gray. Heather Gray is one of my tops too.
Heather Gay.
Heather Gay.
Okay.
Who's Heather Gray?
I don't know.
No.
Okay.
Heather Gay is one of my tops. I love a chubby housewife.
Oh my God.
Actually, Brock, maybe I should cut that.
Yeah, maybe cut that. Maybe cut that.
I love a housewife pre-Ozempic.
Okay. But now there are none left.
I know. I gave the fakest, because I don't care. I'll get into it. I did watch, this is totally separate, and you're going to be like, what are you talking about? I did watch the preview for Below Deck Sailing with Daisy and Gary, and that got me excited.
Yes. I think everyone's really excited about that, because I think also people were shocked to see Gary back.
Yeah. I mean,
because there was a lot of lots. So I'm assuming that they're gonna give him. I have a feeling that they're gonna open it. You know how they kind of do the headline thing, and that'll be kind of a first for Below Deck. Really, maybe the other big one was when it was the Down Under season, and they had that issue with the cabin mate, and like he like.
Oh yeah. And production came in.
Yeah. And so that one had a lot of headlines. But so I think that they're going to probably have him in a confessional to start it out, kind of giving like an update, probably asking him like, has he learned anything from this experience? So we'll see. It's good that what's his name isn't back. The really hot Colin.
Oh.
Because that's just
loved him.
Yeah, he's so hot. But
we loved him.
Yeah, maybe the three of them, maybe without the three of them, it'll be a little less dramatic. But we'll see.
And I mean, we saw Daisy in that preview. She was making out with someone. Go girl. She was. Get it. Let's get into OC.
Let's.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What were we gonna say?
I just realized I didn't give my thoughts on Mormon Housewives.
Oh, okay. Let's touch back at the end.
Yeah.
Because I did mean to ask you about that. So I'm doing a rewatch of the OC. I'm on season.
I love when you do this because you were rewatching Summer House. You never finished that.
Yeah, I never did. You're right.
No. Okay.
I'm in season 3 of the OC. It's not as fun or as funny as RHONY. Like the beginning of RHONY was. I was like out loud laughing. I was belly laughing. I thought these women are insane and hysterical. This one it's like not as funny, but it's still just so wild to go back and like see, like I'm in season 3. So I'm just getting introduced to Tamra right now. And she's with Simon.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's funny, like when I'm watching I was on Peacock, I have to like keep going back and forth, like because I'm watching OC simultaneously, 2 seasons simultaneously. It's like really annoying, but
this is
champagne problems.
And this is when you'll have some sympathy for Tamra, and you'll forget how much you don't have any sympathy for her now.
Oh, how interesting!
Yeah, you'll start with her ex-husband. It was
okay.
You liked Tamra in the beginning. She came on strong.
Well, not anymore, because here's another episode of her taking every damn moment that she can to say something about Shannon's drinking. Maybe she should just have a conversation with Alexis. I mean,
bringing Tamra back on, I get what Bravo was doing, and I just am kind of over her.
Yeah.
Us starting off and seeing Emily confronting Alexis, her words were like saying, what are you doing? Like, this is getting out of control, how you're coming for Shannon. I put the quote in our outline just because I think it helps. It just seems like it's getting dirty, and it's getting salacious, and it's just mean. And it's what we've all been thinking. And I feel like we don't see this from Housewives a lot, where they actually confront the person. And I think a lot of us have been like, why have people not been calling out Alexis? Why are they playing both sides of the field here? Both sides of is that what you say?
I see what you're saying, though. Like normally what's happening, the conversation is almost continuing to stir the pot and doing the whispers back and forth, where I think Gina and Emily specifically really see that this is like way bigger than the show, and they need to kick back.
And she's getting sued. She's getting extorted. This is beyond like a little production entertainment moment for Bravo TV. This isn't like, it's just crazy. The fact that Emily actually came to her defense and said, "What are you doing?" It puts Emily up there again for me as one of my favorites.
I wish there would have been, same. I just, when Alexis said, like, came back or whatever, I just wish that the conversation had continued, that there was a little bit more pushback. And that's not really on Emily, because she took, she did bring up the conversation and she was the one to initiate it and all. But I felt like the conversation was so fast. And I was like, wait, is there more here that maybe that probably just got cut, I'm assuming?
Because Alexis says, I've been fucked over too. What is she talking about?
That's what I would have liked for Emily to have been like, please tell me, because I don't know if I'm right about this, but when the accident happened, was Alexis even in the picture then?
No, Shannon and John were still like having their messy breakup. I think it was like a month later is when the first picture came out.
Okay, so that's what I thought. So I'm like, this literally has nothing to do with Alexis. Like, she's made it about her and has 100% brought a lot of this on her.
And if anything, if you're starting to date a guy and he's actively trying to sue his ex-girlfriend, is that not a red flag for you to maybe say, whoa, 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 maybe I should take a step back, let him figure this mess out before I step into this. Instead, she did the exact opposite and went guns a-blazing, joined him at the hip, and then went on this war against Shannon Beador. It's so bizarre.
It is bizarre. We talked about that a little bit last week, about how it's just like, that is not the kind of guy that you would want to, or a girl, like, you just don't want to start your relationship off with something like this, like, in the background.
It's a walking red flag. I don't understand how, and then for her to try to say that this is happening to her too. No, it's not, sweetheart.
It's not.
You're perpetuating the pain of another woman. And the only thing that I thought in that moment that she was trying to relate to was, I've been through a bad breakup too with my husband. That's what I was like, is she talking about that? And if that's the case, then why couldn't you understand as a woman, at least at the very bottom of anything, as a woman? How can you not get it?
She makes another comment. I'm pretty sure it was this episode when she says, yeah, like, this is hard for me too, to have to be filming with my ex, or with my boyfriend's ex. And I'm like, that's how you got the check. What do you mean? Like, I don't think without that you have a contract
or a story. What is your story?
A storyline? So it's like, when she said that, I literally paused and I was like, wait, what the fuck is she saying? Because that's exactly what she's here to do. Is like, she this delusional? I mean, also, did you watch What Happens Live?
I didn't get no, sorry.
So John Janssen is in the audience and they're asking her about, because as Emily, I think, mentioned was it this episode or last, that like, it could be like extortion. Like, she makes some sort of comment about like the legality of all this what John is doing to Shannon. And she, like, you could see, and I saw people talking about it online. Like, I actually didn't pick up on it at first, but she really backed down on those comments and was like walking them back. And people were pointing out, like, was he giving eyebrow signals to her while she was on stage of like what
John to Alexis?
Yeah, what you can say, what you can't say. But the way that she walked these comments back makes me think something is happening behind the scenes, like with Shannon's lawyers.
Well, Shannon has said numerous times, we have heard the word, if there's anything bad that Shannon has said about John that I can remember, it's she said the word, he coached me on that too. He coached me on this. And to me, that means, like, I get the vibe that she was in a little bit of a toxic relationship with him, where you see that he love bombed Alexis. Shannon says in this episode, everything he's doing to Alexis, he did to me. He came in, he said he wanted to marry me. I was the best thing since sliced bread. We were going to look at rings. He did all of these things. And Shannon says, like, they're made for each other. Go ahead. Like, let's see what happens. So Alexis decides not to go to dinner. Shannon comes into dinner, says to Gina and Emily, I gave him the full $75,000 as long as he signs a non-disparaging agreement, and he did not agree to the non-disparaging agreement. So we looked up what a non-disparaging agreement was for any of the folks. A non-disparaging agreement is a contractual clause in which the parties agree not to make negative, harmful, or damaging statements about one another, typically after a legal settlement or business arrangement. This is common in employee contracts, blah, blah, blah. The purpose of the non-disparagement clause is to protect reputations and avoid any negative statements that could harm future business prospects or relationships. It's usually often included alongside confidentially non-complete clauses in business or legal agreements.
Why wouldn't he want that anyway? Because this isn't his benefit too. And I think
because
dinner, like they're both like, this is like, because Tamra asked, like, was that your idea? And she's like, yeah. And someone says like, well, it's good for both of them. And Tamra's like, yeah.
And but it's also
Tamra even questioning her about that alone was like another just. Ugh.
But I don't understand when he's saying for all of us watching, we feel like John is trying to extort her because he felt like she said bad things about him. But now she's trying to put this clause, this agreement on this settlement, and you're saying, no, you don't want it. It doesn't make sense.
What do you think this is? What do you think he's
I feel
up
like
to?
It's a mind fuck.
Like just for that? Like just psychological warfare?
But that's what makes me... This is so much deeper. I feel like Shannon has a bigger story to tell and probably will never hear it about John Janssen.
But then why wouldn't he sign that? Because then
he can't talk shit about Shannon.
But like, why do you even want to anymore?
Like you said, you moved on and you're engaged and you want this.
You said it's like
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. It's really
it doesn't
weird.
make sense. Yeah.
Okay.
This episode, I wonder how many more episodes we need to listen to Tamra not having a storyline, accusing Shannon of drinking, saying she can't take it because Shannon's drinking. Like, you have nothing. Let this die.
Yeah.
Move on.
I know. Well, now we're... This is a little later because I just had to wonder, are you going biscuit baking or to a sound bath?
I would do the sound bath.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to be doing activities. I'm not one to do it. Like, I don't want to do an activity.
Fair.
And I sure as hell don't want to do one with Alexis and Tamra.
100%. I was kind of annoyed when, they're talking about something and Gina is like saying at the biscuit bacon, like, we're going to have to support you both. And then Alexis says something back. She's all up in arms. And then Emily's about to say something, but then the biscuit lady comes in and is all like, let's be zen. And I was like, knowing that area and just like how the Bay Area kind of operates, it's just, was like, oh, this woman has no idea what she got herself into. She heard her get a little loud and immediately had to like come diffuse. But like as the viewer,
the biscuit making?
As the viewer, I really wanted to hear what Emily was going to say, and they never circled back. And so,
I think Emily made a good point in the very beginning before Gina says anything. She says, you've been friends with Shannon for so many years, and yet you have shown no compassion for her.
Yeah.
And to me, that was like the nail on the head of how Tamra's been acting. And Tamra brings it back to her and says, I just can't deal with this anymore. What are you dealing with?
I don't know. She's just dealing with it because she needs the storyline. That's kind of like her whole motive, I feel like, in this whole thing.
And I disagree with Gina saying that we need to support both of you.
I also agree with that.
Strongly disagree that as your friends, you're watching this woman and her boyfriend, who is your friend's ex-boyfriend, just on a mission to, I can't think of another word, but it feels like destroy her.
Yeah, it is. It's like psychological warfare at this point.
And then you want to be on their, like, you want to play both sides. You think that both of them deserve a chance to be friends with. This is one of those things that if I was Shannon, I would say, you pick a side, because you can be my friend or you can be her friend, but that ain't it. And then to have the nerve for these women to say, you should have a conversation with Shannon. You should have a conversation with Alexis.
So off the wall.
And obviously we know as viewers, that this is production's trying to make this happen. It's insane. And good for Shannon for playing the shit out of Alexis and not doing it.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, well, now we move on to a fashion show. There's so many fashion shows in these damn shows.
This one was for a great cause, as they are. Okay. We love watching Heather be a mom, Heather run an event. She killed it, obviously.
Ask you about Emily in this whole scenario and her having to bring jeans.
So it's so funny because in that moment when I was watching that, I got a pit in my stomach.
I knew
it. Because I've been in situations for acting stuff, and in public stuff where you or even like your friend's wedding dress shoppings and you're a bridesmaid. It's just, and the other thing is that the words Heather was using, we have the big coat for you. We have the big jacket for you. It's oversized. And those things, it just was like such a triggering instance. I think if you're not a 0 to 4 or a 0 to 6 as a woman, you just my heart went out to her in that situation, because there's nothing worse if you aren't, I mean, I know every woman can relate to this in some regard, but if you're not in a typical size, going to like any fitting or I had a friend who I talked about this before, but I had a friend who had a bachelorette party last year, and we all had to wear these like freaking.
This is so shameful. I will never forget when you were at this bachelorette party. She should go to jail.
But like we all had to wear these colored robes, and I didn't want to do it because I wasn't feeling comfortable in my body, and I was one of the bigger girls there.
Robes? I thought it was a bathing suit.
Well, no. Well, that was another part of it, but then we had to wear the color robes over it, and you had to pick a color, and it was a whole thing. And I was one of the bigger girls. I also was like right before I got thyroid cancer surgery. Like, it just to be said that there's nothing worse than these situations. And my heart broke for her.
Why is it that you think she had to bring her own jeans? Because then like Gina's like all of the pants were like fitted to our bodies, and it's like you couldn't find a pair of pants that had enough. We know you have the money for the material, so why did Emily have to bring jeans? I don't understand.
I mean, I guess that's a Heather Dubrow question. And I know that they showed us in the preview that Heather gets an attitude with Emily about the fashion show. And
what?
I can't wait to, I like zoomed in on it and was like, I can't wait to see this. The thing that makes it worse is when you're a woman in this situation and people call attention to it, and how Heather's like, are you okay? Are you okay?
Like,
yeah, I'm fine. After you just fucking said the word big and oversized 12 times.
Yeah,
I'm fine. I'm fine. I get it.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm humiliated. I just want to blend in. And now I'm not blending in because I'm wearing a different color pant as everyone else.
Oh my God, you're so right. I hate
this
so much.
Now I'm just sticking out as the big girl. Yeah.
I'm bummed to hear that she gets attitude with Emily, because I was hoping that she would almost have like some sort of reckoning and learn from this experience.
Well, we'll see. I saw a little bit in the preview and I was like, this ain't it. I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know enough about her to like her before. And now
Heather Dubrow ain't on my list of my top 5. Let me tell you.
Yeah, she's falling off for me, that's for sure.
Yeah. We end with this Gina and Katie shit, and like, I don't care. I think that Gina told her bring it to the show. I don't think that, like, I don't care because I think Katie's boring. I don't think Katie will be around another season. I like that Heather actually said, I trust Gina and I want to move on from it. We also know that Heather probably called the paparazzi. Can we stop having this conversation and just get rid of this storyline?
Katie also talked about it again in an interview with, I think, like, Reality or somewhere. I don't know. And I'm like,
bored.
girl, like, we're bored. Like, you should be reading the comments enough to know that we are bored of this. Like, we don't, not only are we bored of it, I just don't think any of us actually really care
because
about this. Like, this isn't enough drama. This is people down in Southern California with paparazzi. Like, there's nothing that groundbreaking about it.
And even as the viewer, like, we even know that Heather Dubrow called the paparazzi.
Whether she went to say it or not. Like,
we moved on back then when we saw the pictures. Yes. What was that? A year, 6 months ago, 8 months ago? We've been moved on.
That's the thing. It's like Katie keeps trying to, like, push her side of the story, but it's like, you don't need to. Like, we know what's going on. Like, it's fine. Like, let Heather take it, and then, like, as in just, like, let her think what she wants to think and push her own story, because at the end of the day, like, Heather could almost come with proof timelines and receipts, and we'd be like, yes, you called the paparazzi.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter at this point.
And vice versa, Gina. Like, I think all around, we believe every single one of them. Like, I believe that Gina told Katie to bring the story. I don't necessarily believe everything Katie's saying about, like, oh, she asked to bring the Altman brothers, and that was weird. I don't think I believe that.
Even Emily, I think, had called that out. Like, well, what's wrong with that? Like, when she says, like, she was using, and Tamra over here stirring the pot on this, like, the way that she's so desperate for a storyline. You know what I was like? So Stassi, I swear I'm going somewhere with this, but Stassi, I saw a clip of Stassi, and she's talking about, I think she's on her book tour, and she's talking about like how, like, why, something about Vanderpump Rules. They're obviously asking her questions about that, and she said, as soon as you start, this is not verbatim. It's like something that what I took away was, she was kind of saying, stay authentic to yourself, because as soon as you're not and you're playing to the audience will back away from you. And Tamra is doing that. She's playing too much to what she thought the audience wanted when Shannon got her DUI, because she saw the upset online. Lala, I think, did that last season. That's why we pulled away from her. Rinna did it in her last season, and that was her last season. Like, I think as soon as they do start playing to what they think the audience wants based on comments, they really lose us.
And Tamra did this last year with Jen, going at Jen so hard about Ryan, and now this year they're fine and friends. Tamra, I'm good. We can stir up the drama other ways.
Totally. Well, especially because when she stirs it up, it's gotten to a point that we kind of do glaze over it now, so it's actually not good for the show. Like, everything, it's almost like the girl or the boy who cried wolf. It's giving that sort of, like, whenever she starts, it's like, all right, here we go. We don't really care.
That conversation, the conversation with her and Heather around the table where they're, like, having a drink, and she's like, well, Katie said this and that. I'm like, I would fast forward this.
Totally.
I would do that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few more episodes of OC left, I think, this is
going to be a good reunion. Bad for Tamra. I think it's going to be a good reunion, though.
Yeah. There's nothing that could happen to make us hate Shannon. Team Shannon. I think
Gina, Shannon, and Emily are going to have a great reunion.
Yeah.
Others are going to be really crying.
As they should.
Yeah.
Real quick on Real House.
Oh yeah, the Secret Lives of Mormon. Yeah. So what was your overall, like, where are you at?
If you're not watching this show, you are missing out. I said it after watching an episode and a half, and I'm gonna say it again. I think it's the best piece of reality TV that has been put out there in a while. Yes, there's parts of it that are produced, but getting to hear so much about this crazy. Okay, let me not say crazy. This community and this religion and the way of mom talk is insane. Whitney, as much as we hate her, she's reality TV gold. She's meant to be like, she's up there with the villains of reality TV. Like, she just was made for this. Taylor Frankie Paul, I just feel like she'll be around forever.
Yeah, she'll be around.
Demi came out as my queen bee.
Always.
Demi,
like, I think everyone that was like the internet kind of came together on Demi for sure.
Or Demi, I should say. Demi, I'm sorry. She said her name's Demetria.
Yeah.
Which Demi,
it is helpful. She was like, it's helpful. And I was like, it is helpful.
It is helpful.
Yeah.
I just think if you're not watching, I actually told my therapist yesterday, she was talking about, we were talking about something in relationships. And I was like, oh, are you referencing The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives? And she's like, no, I would not reference that in a therapy session. It's like, oh, well, I am.
Yeah. What other big takeaways?
I think the other takeaway is it's so frightening how young these girls are.
Yeah.
How young they get married. Jen Affleck, my heart breaks for her and what is going on in her home life. I mean, it's really bizarre that these men are so insecure, or some of these men in these relationships, and it's scary.
Zach, Jen's husband,
yeah,
his brother, I guess, like spoke out against Jen. I think it was like this week, maybe even yesterday, saying like how he's like ashamed of, you know, how they've been portrayed and really disappointed in her and stuff. So yeah, see,
I bet he is when his brother's called out for gambling and treating his wife like a piece of shit.
And she was on the Bio Files, like they all were. And
I listened.
Okay, so then, you know, like they were pressing Jen on some questions about her relationship. And I got to say, she wasn't sugarcoating it. Like she was like, we have issues and we're still currently working through them. And I don't know if that means forever.
We'll stay married or not.
It didn't seem like she's totally delusional and is like, this is my partner and we're going to be together forever. It seemed like she's very much like, if I got to walk away, I got to walk away.
But I don't know if I believe that either. I think she is 25 and I think she says what she thinks people want to hear in the moment. 25? She's 25. She's an infant baby child. And I think she is saying these things because it's what people want to hear in these moments. And what happened that night where they went to Chippendales, it wasn't even a strip club, and these men freaking out about the strip club. If anything, Taylor's
spending her money.
So this guy has a gambling problem, and she's like, I don't want to call it a gambling problem, but I gave him a bankroll of my money. All these girls are the breadwinners in their family. And then these men are it just felt so antiquated of what TV are we like? Who are these men?
What year? Yeah.
What year are we in?
There was something else from the Biofiles podcast that Macy said that I was kind of like, oh, I wonder what this means. That she's worthy to go into the temple.
Oh, that's part of their religion.
I know. So like it sounds like no one else is, but she is. And I wonder what
I think
makes her. And I think Nick tried to ask her, but she didn't really have she wasn't allowed to talk about it. That's what I was going to say.
You're not allowed to say what it means.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. And it probably means you follow the rules and do you're not a sinner. Who was it that was worthy?
Macy.
Interesting.
Maybe I like her. She's definitely the nicest.
Yeah. It's such a good watch. It's like you're watching a whole other world of
And then Demi's husband being on The Bachelor, and then also was with Angie Harrington. Finally got it. He's on TV now.
I just think it's interesting because there's something about the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I feel like we got more info from this show than we've gotten from Housewives of Salt Lake City.
I don't think the church even really lets Housewives Bravo touch it. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
The other thing that I was thinking about too, that I think definitely set us up and was giving total the opening scene of this show is so Handmaid's Tale that before you even watch the show, you have already been put in. I mean, even with what we know, but still, like, you immediately go to Handmaid's Tale. So now you're watching it with that sort of like perspective, like point of view.
Shout out to the producers on that. That shot.
And they've talked about how they were
afraid to do that.
They were really unsure about even when they were shooting that. They were kind of
it's a shot of all 5 of them in front of the Mormon temple in the same color coat walking towards the camera.
And the music's a little like
it's giving very
Handmaid's
Tale vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's this is going to be on for seasons to come.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, we will be back next Thursday with an all-new episode. We're going to get into Salt Lake City as well as all of our other updates. If you don't already follow us on Instagram and TikTok, we are almost at 3,000 followers on TikTok. If you are not following us on TikTok, please follow us at Bonded by Bravo Pod. Listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and what's the other one? Spotify at Bonded by Bravo.
And then you can watch us on YouTube.
At Hurrdat Media under Bonded by Bravo podcast. You can watch our full episodes with our beautiful faces on video. We'll be back next Thursday, friends, with an all-new episode. See you then.
Okay, bye.